Good evening. 47 cameras and counting. The rash of vandalism against the City of Toronto's speed cameras continues, with 3 more toppled over. The Premier has made no secret of the fact that he would like to see them removed properly and permanently. But tonight, Ontario's police chiefs say the cameras are a valuable tool. CTV's Janice Golding is following the story and joins us live with more tonight. Janice.
Hi, Natalie. Yes, the war on speed cameras continues, with 3 more chopped down in our city overnight, including one here at Avenue in Castlefield. Once again, Torontonians woke up to this. Sawed-off metal posts where speed enforcement cameras once monitored the roads.
You think they could design the poles a little better so they couldn't cut them down?
I guess it's someone that keeps getting caught, so I sort of understand that. 2
of the cameras are on Avenue Road, the other on Mount Pleasant. This is in addition to the 16 that were cut down on September the 9th, and of course, the infamous Parkside Drive camera that was sawed off for the 7th time on September the 7th. The grand total, 20 cameras damaged in under 2 weeks.
Well, I'm not a big fan of speed cameras, that's for sure.
So you don't mind that they're doing this?
Not really.
But it's also illegal. I think that's nuts to go cutting them down.
Mixed emotions from residents about the cameras, although the Premier is unequivocal. He's called the devices a tax grab and has said if municipalities don't do away with them, the province will. Still, traffic safety advocates say
people roll the dice. The chance of being caught by a police officer is a lot lower than the guarantee of a ticket if you're breaking the law.
The president of the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police adding the cameras reduce speeding and free up police resources to focus on other public safety priorities.
We see technologies, and I'm going to include both ASEs, the other radar recording signs that I mentioned, red light cameras and CCTV as technologies that have been proven to be effective tools.
The City of Vaughan officially ended its automated speed enforcement program last Monday, both due to public outcry and the financial impact on residents. But Toronto shows no sign of following suit.
We're working with the private company to look at different ways of installation, and we are asking the chief to step up on his enforcement and catch these criminals.
Many saying they understand why the city installed the devices.
I can see that people are frustrated. I've been caught once, but it had the good effect of slowing me down.
It's not a bad idea to have speed cameras around, for sure, especially around schools.
In total, 47 speed cameras have been damaged in Toronto this year, and there's no sign the pace of the vandals is slowing down. The speed cameras generated about $40 million in fines for the city last year, and so far we're told that they've made more than $45 million. Reporting live, I'm Janice Golding. Now back to Nathan.
Thank you, Janice. And as Janice noted, the Premier has been a vocal critic of speed cameras, and he was speaking at an unrelated event today, suggesting cities look at other ways to slow drivers down.
Stay tuned. Next week, I'm going to show you. I spent 4 years in Toronto, my brother, slowing traffic. I can bring it to a halt. I can bring it below the speed limit. I can bring it to the speed limit. But they don't want to do that. They would rather get money off people, not warn the people that are driving through their community that there's a speed trap there. So if they really want to slow people down, I will show them how to slow people down. They know how to do it. They just don't want to do it. So going through school zones, 100%. We'll have the flashing lights. We'll have the signs. We can have turnabouts. We can have speed bumps. There's a million different ways to slow people down if that's truly what they want to do.
You might be wondering why the Premier is holding ice cream during his remarks. He was speaking outside a Chapman's facility in Markdale, announcing $27 million in provincial support to help the company expand operations there.
Also tonight, barred for dropping controversial bars. Irish rap group Kneecap is denied entry into Canada for its alleged support of terrorist organizations. That story just ahead.
But first, a look at the forecast. Temperatures have gone down a touch. There's a shot of the city. Still a bit of some sunshine out there and a few clouds. Comfortable. Some might even prefer these conditions this time of year. We do take a slight dip in temperatures tomorrow, but then the late summer warm air returns to finish off the weekend. Lindsay Morrison is here with a look at the current conditions in the sun. You can see it's setting now.
Yeah, it is, Nathan. 7:19 p.m. is our sunset time officially, and this is officially the last weekend of summer. So perhaps it's nice that it's going to feel like the season by the end of it. Today, yeah, it was noticeably cooler compared to yesterday when we climbed to 30 degrees. We're at 20 degrees right now. We're tapping into a bit of a northerly wind. Not much going on the satellite and radar. It's been a beautiful day filled with sunshine. Through the overnight hours tonight, we dropped to a low near 10 degrees. That's a little bit cooler than we've been. It's going to be even cooler for areas north and east of the city, where there's also the risk of frost tonight. Not so much a concern for us here in the GTA, but yes, tomorrow will be a little cooler than normal. We're going to take a detailed look at your weekend forecast coming up. For now, Nathan, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Police are asking for the public's help as they search for a suspect in a stabbing last night. They're looking for this man, 30-year-old Nicholas Benjamin. Police were called to a home near Bathurst and Finch at around 9, and they allege he physically assaulted someone there and then stabbed a second person when they tried to intervene. A man and woman suffered non-life-threatening injuries. If you see him, please call police immediately, as he is considered armed and dangerous.
North of the city, police are working to track down a suspect caught on camera setting an SUV on fire. York police shared this video from around 7 a.m. Wednesday near Forest Heights Boulevard and Highway 27. An individual can be seen pouring liquid on a dark-colored SUV before igniting it. The suspect then fired several rounds at the SUV before leaving the area in a stolen gray Honda Civic. Police have released an image of the man they are searching for. They are asking any witnesses or anyone with information to contact them. Also in York Region, 2 suspects are in custody after a shooting in Markham earlier this year. Police shared this video from January 21st outside a home near Lee Avenue and Noble Street. A man wearing a hard hat and a high-visibility vest can be seen firing a gun before running away. A woman was left with non-life-threatening injuries. Investigators have arrested 35-year-old Chow Chen and 42-year-old Zhao Yi. They face charges including attempted murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Turning to Durham Region now, where police have disrupted an auto theft trafficking ring dubbed Project Egypt.
The investigation has resulted in several arrests and over 100 charges. CTV's Sean Leathong has more.
The crackdown on car thefts in Durham Region has led to 5 more arrests and exposing what police allege is an interprovincial crime network.
They had been coming into Ontario to commit these auto thefts.
The 5 men arrested all live in Quebec, but police say they've been traveling to Ontario for the purpose of stealing vehicles and moving them out of province.
More than likely, these vehicles were not driven all the way back to Quebec, but they would have figured out a method to transport these vehicles discreetly back to Quebec.
According to Durham Regional Police, Project Egypt began last June with police tracing the movements of these alleged car thieves, leading to a search conducted in Mississauga on Wednesday, which led to the 5 arrests.
As a result of that investigation, 25 stolen vehicles that were re-VINed were identified and 8 stolen vehicles were recovered.
Charged are Shaina Faustine, age 32, Jean-Junior Goriel, age 24, Kyle Kane, age 22, Dylan Chimasoro, age 19, and Joshua Jean-Louis, age 24. They face over 100 charges, including conspiracy to commit an indictable offense, theft of motor vehicle, traffic in property obtained by crime, possession of property obtained by crime, and also 2 of them face a fail to comply with release order and fail to comply with probation order.
And while the results of Project Egypt were significant, police say there is the possibility that these 5 are working for a larger criminal organization.
More than likely that all these organized crime groups are linked and they have multiple employees working for them.
Police say most, if not all, of the vehicles stolen were destined to be shipped overseas. Durham Regional Police say Project Egypt was part of a larger project, Attire, focusing on car thefts since 2023. To date, the project has accounted for more than 80 suspect arrests and nearly 400 charges. Sean Leathong, CTV News.
Also today, Halton Regional Police shared the results of their own investigation into an alleged car theft network operating in the GTA titled Project Credit. Police believe the group would identify high-end vehicles and arrange test drives to make copies of the key fobs for the targeted cars. They would then be stolen and shipped overseas or stripped for parts in a chop shop. Police say they uncovered that site in Grimsby, and 4 suspects now face nearly 40 charges. And take a look at this. Minor injuries were reported after a driver crashed into a townhouse in Scarborough this morning. It happened around 9:15 near Warden and St. Clair. The garage door was badly damaged, along with some of the surrounding bricks. Paramedics say the driver was taken to a local hospital, but the injuries were not serious. There's been no word on what led to the crash or any charges. Also tonight, striking college support workers stage a day of action amid questions about public money granted to private firms. Our John Woodward with the details just ahead.
But first, residents of an encampment in a park near Dufferin and Bloor have issued a list of demands they want met in exchange for leaving the site. City crews and bylaw enforcement officers were on the scene at Dufferin Grove Park on Wednesday. 7 people camping there had been handed trespass notices last week, ordering them to leave by that date. The city says it hopes to refer residents to shelter spaces that meet their needs. Residents this morning say that is not enough to convince them to pack up.
The demands are very reasonable. It is for permanent housing solutions, and included in that permanent housing that they be a minimum 800 square feet and accessible to them, that they have the right to refuse offers that are not accessible to them or don't work for them in some way, that they not include mandatory sort of regulations or mandatory supports, anything coercive or restrictive like that, and that they are done either through Toronto Community Housing or be RGI, rent geared to income. Thus far, the city has only offered shelters, which is a system that a lot of these residents have already been through.
At this stage, the city hasn't outlined any plans to clear the park, but encampment supporters say they intend to turn out if that happens.
Striking college workers held rallies in several locations across the province today, calling it a provincial day of action. As CTV's John Woodward reports, the workers are calling out more grants under a multi-billion-dollar provincial program.
Good afternoon, everybody. Make sure they hear you.
Striking workers rallied outside a Niagara College campus Friday.
We're losing classes, courses, all because of the underfunding.
Courses canceled, including 3 hospitality programs among hundreds across the province, as the loss of international students cuts into the college's bottom lines.
Union power! Solidarity!
Also aggravating to these workers, watching money go to private companies' skills training through Ontario's $2.5 billion Skills Development Fund.
It's confusing that our government would take money away from those programs and funnel them into private training that has almost no oversight.
Nearby, Canadian Niagara Hotels received around $4.5 million in 2 grants, records show, for skills training and education. Records show the CEO of Canadian Niagara Hotels is listed as donating about $7,000 to the governing PCs. The company told CTV News they didn't use the same lobbyist that represented another company that received grants, Scale Hospitality. In that case, the company received at least $11 million to train 5,000 workers for its restaurant chain. Those restaurateurs donated around $10,000. The provincial government says the $2.5 billion program has hundreds of recipients, from other unions to colleges themselves. Reached earlier this week, the Premier defended the program.
That's the best investment we've ever done in the province. We've trained up over 700,000 people with multiple skills and given them the tools, literally given them tools to have a career and have a trade that they'll have for the rest of their lives.
Labour Minister David Piccini said those programs had earned the money.
What I would say on this particular fund is they met all their metrics. In fact, they exceeded it.
Those metrics not always available. The government has published a list of hundreds of recipients, but not necessarily how much each got. Striking workers say how the colleges spend taxpayer funds is crystal clear. John Woodward, CTV News.
Irish rap group Kneecap has been denied entry into Canada after being accused of amplifying political violence.
It comes as the group was set to perform in Toronto next month. CTV's Alison Hurst has more on why they were barred and how the group is responding.
Free, free! The Irish rap group Kneecap, known for its politically charged performances, is barred from entering Canada.
Political debate and free speech are vital to our democracy. But open endorsements of terrorist groups are not free speech.
The group has 4 shows scheduled in Canada next month, 2 in Toronto and 2 in Vancouver. Kneecap has been accused of amplifying political violence and has faced outrage over seeming public support for terrorist organizations such as Hezbollah and Hamas. In February, the group shared this photo of a member reading a book written by a Hezbollah leader.
This message
is that hate will not be tolerated, not in our streets, not on our campuses, and not on stage.
The band had to cancel its U.S. tour earlier this year after a member of the group was charged with a terrorist offense in the UK. Those charges came after videos emerged appearing to show 27-year-old Mo Chara wearing a Hezbollah flag over his head.
We've seen hate crimes go up by 50% across the country over the last few years. We have seen unspeakable demonization across our city in protests and in mobs, and we must do everything we can to keep our city safe.
NECAP was swift to respond to the Canadian government, posting in part, "Your comments about us are wholly untrue and deeply malicious. No member of NECAP has been convicted of any crime in any country ever. We have today instructed our lawyers to initiate legal action against you." Fans are sharing their disappointment. To them, the band wrote in part, "It is our view that when the government realized there was no legal basis on which to stop us, they today, via Vince Gasparo, sought to maliciously misrepresent NECAP. We have played in Canada many times with zero issues. We are sorry we cannot be with you next month."
I am outraged, honestly. Some people are not surprised. I am surprised because I never thought that I'd find myself living in Canada where the Canadian government would ban an Irish music group from entering the country just for speaking up against a genocide.
Canada is not the first country to do this. Hungary also barred the group earlier this summer, saying the musicians' presence in the country would constitute a risk to national security. Alison Hurst, CTV News.
The Liberal government has tabled its first legislation of the fall session of Parliament intended to protect communities against hate crimes by expanding federal laws.
Crimes against religious groups in particular have been on the rise. CTV's Abigail Beeman has the details.
The flames went up the door.
Cantor Henry Topaz's Montreal synagogue has been firebombed twice since the Hamas terror attack of October 7th, 2023. He says the government's new hate crime bill is a step in the right direction.
The idea of vulnerable infrastructure, notably houses of worship, are now more protected than they ever have been before.
Tabling of documents.
Bill C-2 has 4 new hate-related criminal offenses, including making it a crime to promote hate against an identifiable group through symbols, including a swastika and those from designated terror groups, making hate-motivated crime a specific offense, and making it a crime to obstruct or intimidate people trying to access places of worship and other places like schools used by an identifiable group.
The prevalence of hate crimes in this country that steal those freedoms are something that should shock the conscience of every Canadian.
Statistics Canada shows police-reported hate crimes targeting religion have been on the rise, largely due to attacks on Jews and Muslims. In 2024, there were 229 Islamophobic attacks and 920 anti-Semitic.
The application of it is going to be really important to make sure that the right balance is struck between, making sure that Canadians still have, the basic ability to express themselves, and we're maintaining civil liberties.
The Justice Minister says that balance was top of mind when crafting the new bill. It's not clear yet what support this minority government may get from other parties as this bill moves its way through the House. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Canada and Mexico have agreed to a strategic partnership vowing deeper ties in the face of Donald Trump's trade war on both countries. The U.S. is expected to make major demands during renegotiations of the trilateral trade agreement known as CUSMA. CTV's Judy Trin reports.
Look at that, pride of Canada right there.
Prairie wheat being offloaded from a Canadian train in Mexico. A choreographed moment to emphasize how improving rail lines, ports, and pipelines can lead to economic growth in both countries. The Prime Minister's strategic partnership with President Claudia Sheinbaum aims to boost trade with Mexico. The results will be tracked.
Every 3 months, there will be an accountability mechanism for us to reconvene with Mexico, and in particular, the ministers responsible for the various items in the action plan.
The plan also calls for more cooperation in fighting drug cartels and human trafficking. But analysts say this meeting was more about concerns that the Canada-US-Mexico trade agreement is unraveling.
It really is about making sure that we're singing from the same songbook, and that Mexico and Canada are not going to get played off of one another.
This after some troubled trade history. During the first Trump administration, Mexico signed a side deal that threatened a North American agreement. But these two leaders say they're committed to negotiating a continental agreement.
CUSMA, USMCA, is strength together. It's strength of the three countries together.
Now, after the U.S. launched public consultations, Canada is doing the same.
Formally, the beginning of the Canadian consultative process with Canadian industry, businesses, workers.
In the meantime, LeBlanc will be visiting Washington in the next few weeks to continue trade talks. He'll also be leading a trade mission to Mexico in the near future. All this as CUSMA is set to expire in June 2026. Judy Trin, CTV News, Mexico City.
Meanwhile, Mark Carney will not give a major foreign policy speech at the United Nations next week, as expected. He was originally scheduled to speak to the General Assembly on September 27th. The Prime Minister's office says there will be an explanation for the change soon. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand will instead address the Assembly on the 29th. Canada will formally recognize Palestinian statehood at the UN with conditions. Carney will participate in events about Ukraine, Haiti, the Middle East, and funding for climate adaptation.
Overseas, Estonia will start consultations with its NATO allies after Russian fighter jets violated its airspace today. 3 aircraft spent 12 minutes over the Baltic country in what the government described as an unprecedented brazen incursion. Italian Air Force jets in the region, as part of a NATO policing mission, responded to the incident. Estonia summoned a Russian diplomat in protest. It was the 4th time Moscow has violated Estonian airspace this year. Other alliance countries have reported similar incursions. Just over a week ago, NATO planes downed Russian drones over Poland.
The towers are one of the world's most famous landmarks, reopened today after years of reconstruction. The opening of the towers marks the final stage in the restoration of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. Much of it was destroyed by fire 6 years ago. The tour now features new spaces, such as close-up access to the bells. Notre Dame's reconstruction was defined by extraordinary craftsmanship and nearly $1 billion in global donations.
Still to come this hour, 2 pups, 1 walk, and a whole lot of laughs. An Oshawa man double dog dares you not to smile at his spectacle of a stroll.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, a flooring store in Durham Region has closed its doors, leaving customers without tens of thousands of dollars in flooring they already paid for. Can they get their money back? We speak with a bankruptcy expert. That story is just ahead.
So this weekend we'll start off feeling a little fresh, and by the end of it we could be dealing with some wet weather. Overall, though, it's a great looking weekend to head to the cottage or a campground. A reminder that fall officially arrives just after 2 p.m. on Monday, but I must say it's going to feel a little more like summer that day. We'll talk about that and the rest of your 7-day forecast coming up. And stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Some Canadian businesses have been feeling the effects of higher interest rates, inflation, and trade tensions with the U.S.
A licensed insolvency trustee tells CTV News he's seeing more companies facing difficulties and having to declare bankruptcy. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan and Natalie. Viewers contacted us after a large flooring store in Durham Region abruptly closed its doors. Customers were expecting flooring deliveries in the coming weeks, but now the doors are locked and no one is there. Shauna Davinovich was hoping to soon have flooring installed in her entire home. Her family paid Decorama Flooring of Bowmanville in advance over $7,000. When she called to ask about her delivery, she got a major surprise.
I actually called at 11 p.m. that night and a bailiff answered. He said, we're terminating this place. So we came the next day. The note on the door says the locks have been changed. He hasn't paid his rent.
Bailiff has closed their doors.
Heather Rudd also gave the store $8,500 for flooring. She was expecting to have it installed next week.
Samples were brought out to the house. I decided what I wanted. I thought everything would just flow smoothly. not so much.
Rudd and Davinovich are just two customers of many who gave Decorama Flooring advance payments. It's not clear why the long-term business closed its doors, but customers say they were given no advance notice there was a problem. And now when you phone Decorama Flooring, it says the number is not in service.
There are definitely more business bankruptcies now than there were a year or two or three ago.
Doug Hoyes, a licensed insolvency trustee, says many businesses are feeling financial pressures. He says while customers may be hopeful to get their money back when a company goes under, he says they're considered unsecured creditors and least likely to get refunds.
In a bankruptcy, there's an order of priorities. Government gets their money first. Banks get their money second because they're a secured creditor. If you put a deposit down, you're probably at the end of the line. You're the last to get paid money if there's any left over.
As well as paying thousands of dollars and getting nothing in return, Rudd and Davinovich will now have to buy flooring again from someone else.
And now we have to buy new flooring. Our whole main floor needs flooring now and pay for it again.
And it's best to avoid paying in advance for anything, but when it comes to flooring, you usually have to pay up front. If you can, try to keep your down payment as low as possible and pay the balance on delivery. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
All right, we know summer's winding down, but it's been a great week weather-wise, no complaints, and today was even more comfortable.
Yeah, Lindsay was down at Chudley's, the apple orchard, and I always think, apple picking, you go down in your flannel and your boots, but today was the day for shorts.
Yeah, we actually, those of us who were there, showed up with a light jacket on. There was a bit of cloud cover. Suddenly the sky cleared, the sun was out, and everyone was sweating and needed some sunscreen. So yeah, it was just that kind of day. It was quite lovely, I think, in my opinion. Anyway, temperatures in the low 20s, not too hot, not too cold. Goldilocks weather, just right. Here's what that looked like at Chudley's today. Apple picking season is underway, and the Honeycrisp specifically at Chudley's is now available for picking starting this weekend. But the harvest season goes on for many weeks, so if you can't get out this weekend, lots of opportunity to enjoy. We caught up with Scott Chudley, one of the Chudley brothers, who told us what we can look forward to when visiting farms like this and just what kind of weather is just right for the apples.
It's the fall, so this is our time. This is when everybody comes out. So it's apple picking, and Honeycrisp starts today, and we'll go for a couple weeks yet. So right through after Thanksgiving, but lots of apples to pick as well. There's the little mini cur that are really super popular, just a tiny little apple. But right now, we love cold nights and hot days. That sets up an acid-sugar balance in the apple that makes them taste so yummy, and then the skin gets nice and red.
So we've had no shortage of hot days as of late. Let's see about these cooler nights. They're coming as well. Right now it is 19 degrees in the city of Toronto. We climbed into the low 20s. It's 23 degrees this hour in Windsor. If you're joining us from Muskoka, 18 degrees where you are, and 17 right now in Ottawa. A little bit cooler today in northern parts of Ontario, where it was also a pretty hot week at times. It's Friday night. If you're heading out to a patio this evening, I suggest maybe bringing a light sweater or a light jacket, because once the sun sets tonight, it will be about 7:19 p.m. You'll notice a bit of a cool down. So teen temperatures through the evening hours, but clear skies and calm winds. All of those are ingredients for frost. Not so much a concern around the GTA. We're forecasting an overnight low of 10 degrees in Toronto, but look at Peterborough, 2 degrees. Check out Bancroft, -1. Yeah, it's that time of year already. There is a frost advisory in place for this part of eastern Ontario, sections of the north as well. Frost a possibility. It will feel fresh here in the GTA early tomorrow morning. So if you're going out for a run, maybe you have an early tea time, you might consider that light jacket once again. And then in the afternoon, temperatures are going to be in the low 20s for some, in the teens, though, for many, especially around the Golden Horseshoe. 19 degrees is what we're forecasting in Toronto. That's just a hair below seasonal. The average temperature this time of year is about 20 degrees. So we've had lots of sunshine after that cloud cover burned off in the morning. For the most part, high pressure will be the story for this weekend, and that means an absence of active weather along with mainly sunny skies. But we have to talk about this disturbance stateside and moving into northwestern Ontario. As the weekend progresses, we will see mostly sunny skies on Saturday, followed by an increase in cloud cover at times on Sunday. The winds change direction, so we'll tap into a southerly flow. That increases the warmth and the humidity. It also brings us some moisture. So we're looking at some wet weather late evening, Sunday and overnight into Monday. Might be a little unsettled through the day on Monday as well, but temperature-wise, it's still going to be on the warm side. So highs of 25 degrees for both Sunday and Monday. It's going to feel like 28 at the height of the day on Sunday. We officially welcome fall on Monday afternoon, but yeah, I think that feels a little more like summer. And then we are nice and seasonal with calm weather conditions right through the middle to end of next week. That's the weather for now. Natalie, over to you.
Thanks, Lindsay. Still to come tonight, Swifties get set for a big screen bash. Superstar Taylor Swift reveals plans for her next big drop that will play out in thousands of theaters. We have the details of her next era just ahead.
A measles outbreak's been declared just north of Toronto. The carrier, a young child who returned home from a trip abroad.
CTV's Adrian Gobriel with why public health officials say the latest cluster of cases is no reason to panic as long as you're up to date on your vaccines.
A foreign strain of the measles is confirmed to have landed on Canadian soil and is to blame for an outbreak of 5 known cases in children in Vaughan, Ontario.
We do know there's been community transmission, and all the 5 cases we're talking about are linked. So we know that just from the lab analysis that they're all actually the same subtype of virus.
The emergency room at the Cortellucci Vaughan Hospital is one of 2 locations where there may have been an exposure, though health officials note that if you're vaccinated, there's little to be concerned about.
This vaccine, especially in children and adolescents, does a remarkable job in preventing infection, and there's overwhelming data supporting that.
As of September 6th, there's been more than 4,900 cases of measles reported across the country, with the largest clusters found in Alberta and Ontario, where more than 2,300 cases have been confirmed. The largest measles outbreak found here in southwestern Ontario, where the highly contagious disease spread at an alarming rate through some of the region's Mennonite communities, where vaccination rates are below the national average.
When you do have a pocket of non-immune individuals and you introduce the virus into that pocket, it's going to take off like wildfire.
Infectious disease specialists are hopeful that the worst of Canada's 2025 outbreaks are behind us. The recent Canadian cases come as a newly appointed federal advisory panel stateside installed by U.S. Secretary of Health Robert F. Kennedy Jr. passed a vote this week recommending that children under 4 no longer receive an all-in-one vaccine for measles, mumps, rubella, and chickenpox. North of the border, some doctors are worried that decision could lead to more vaccine hesitancy.
I'm not looking to the United States for guidance on the appropriate path forward. And I don't think much of the world is either.
Here in the Greater Toronto Area, if you visited a location where there may have been a potential exposure, you're being asked to call your local public health unit immediately. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Vaughan, Ontario.
Toronto police have issued a public safety alert over suspected opioid overdoses in the Oakwood Village area. They say they responded to 2 separate fatal incidents near Eglinton and Dufferin on Monday and Tuesday. Police say they are concerned there could be more people who have been sold or given those same drugs, and they are advising anyone suffering serious illness after consuming a narcotic to seek treatment immediately. Next to an autoimmune condition that can have devastating effects on a patient's life.
But 2 new drugs are promising to cause fewer side effects while being easier to administer. We have details from our health reporter, Pauline Chan.
I thought I was having a stroke. I thought maybe I had Bell's palsy. I had blurry vision. My right side of my face was kind of, saggy.
Before he was diagnosed with myasthenia gravis in 2021, Manly Lavender was in a wheelchair. But treatments, especially his 7th and latest medication, have brought him back to mobility and a zest for life.
I was able to cut my grass. I was able to walk my dog.
And while his current treatment is working well, he hails the approval of 2 new medications in Canada.
the door is being cracked open.
Before there were any treatments for this many years ago, it was a fatal condition.
The new treatments are called Zilbrysq, the first self-administered daily injection for generalized myasthenia gravis, or GMG, and Restigo, a subcutaneous injection given weekly at a clinic.
Zilbrysq is what's known as a complement inhibitor, and the Restigo is what's known as an FC receptor inhibitor. And these two new classes of drugs are new mechanisms.
Dr. Hans Katzberg says they are an improvement because they have fewer side effects and are much easier to take than the current hour-long infusions. Humera Osman of Muscular Dystrophy Canada, which is the umbrella group that covers GMG, says in the past, medications could take 12 to 18 months to show any effects. Now,
the effect has been observed much earlier. So you're really able to tell if you are responding well to treatment.
Many people don't have the resources and the time and the wherewithal to travel into a big center like Toronto and Ottawa and London, so they settle.
But he hopes being able to take your medications at home will mean more patients can get the best therapies available. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
After the success of her Eras Tour movie, Taylor Swift is making her return to the big screen. The pop star revealed last month that her album, The Life of a Showgirl, is on the way. It will be her 12th studio album and will include 12 tracks, including a duet with Sabrina Carpenter. Today, Swift announced she'll mark the October 3rd debut with a special cinematic release party. Audiences will get to see the world premiere of the album's lead single and behind-the-scenes footage of how The Life of a Showgirl came together. Swift says dancing at those screenings is optional, but, quote, very much encouraged. After the break, answering the annual call, Apple's iPhone 17 is now out with a slew of new bells and whistles. We check out the futuristic phone and the frenzy coming up.
We see technologies, and I'm going to include both ASEs, the other radar recording signs that I mentioned, red light cameras and CCTV as technologies that have been proven to be effective tools.
Updating our top stories now after another 3 traffic cameras were toppled in Toronto. The head of Ontario's Association of Police Chiefs says the devices are a helpful tool for slowing down speeders. The Premier has said he wants cities to get rid of the speed cameras. Here in Toronto, 47 cameras have been vandalized this year.
Political debate and free speech are vital to our democracy, but open endorsements of terrorist groups are not free speech.
Ahead of 4 scheduled concerts in Canada, including 2 in Toronto, an Irish rap group has been barred from entering this country. The group is called Kneecap, and they've been accused of amplifying political violence and publicly supporting terrorist organizations such as Hezbollah and Hamas. The band says comments made by Canadian officials are untrue and malicious and say they will take legal action.
We do know there's been community transmission, and all the 5 cases we're talking about are linked. So we know that just from the lab analysis that they're all actually the same subtype of virus.
And 5 known cases of measles in Vaughan have been linked to a strain of the virus previously unseen in Canada. The emergency room at the Cortellucci Vaughan Hospital is one of 2 locations officials are warning of possible exposures. Officials say there is little risk to those who have been vaccinated against the virus.
Remember to keep up to date day and night at ctvnewstoronto.ca and by downloading the CTV News app. And if you have a news tip, photos, or video of breaking news, let us know.
Retail sales were down in July in 5 Canadian provinces. BNN Bloomberg's Marella Fernandez has more on that and other business headlines.
Overall, retail sales dropped in July, coming in just under $70 billion. Sales were down just under 1% overall, but 8 of 9 subsectors dropped. Consumers scaled back on buying clothing and accessories, sales dropping about 3% there. Sales at grocery stores dropped 2.5%. Here's a look at how the trading day ended. The Canadian dollar's up to 72.53. West Texas Intermediate is down to 62.70. Western Canadian Select is unchanged today at 51.55. And the TSX shot up more than 300 points today for another record close at 29,768. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marella Fernandez.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
Apple fans were lined up outside stores around the world today as the newest iPhone models officially went on sale.
Today I came at about midnight, so about 8-9 hour wait. At this point I'm kind of used to it because this is my third consecutive year doing so.
Products up for grabs included several versions of the new iPhone 17 and the iPhone Air. Apple CEO Tim Cook welcomed customers as sales kicked off at the company's flagship store in New York. Tech publication The Information reports Apple has asked suppliers to boost production in the wake of strong pre-orders of the new phone models. Apple, though, didn't comment.
In sports, the Toronto Blue Jays look to get closer to an American League East title when they start a series in Kansas City tonight.
Carson Williams gets into one, hits it a long way to left and way out of here.
The Jays have a 3-game lead in the AL East after yesterday's loss to Tampa Bay. Toronto's magic number to clinch a playoff berth remains at 3. Max Scherzer gets the start for the Jays tonight against the Royals.
A huge victory today for Canada's women's rugby team.
Can you believe it? Canada 34, New Zealand 19. Canada are going to the gold medal Rugby World Cup final.
The number 2 ranked team, Canada, held off a late rally by defending champs New Zealand to make the final of the Women's Rugby World Cup. That will take place next Saturday in London. They'll play the winner of tomorrow's semifinal between England and France. It's the first time Canada has made the final since 2014.
There are some transit disruptions to keep in mind as we head into the weekend. GO trains on the Lakeshore East Line will only be running between Union and Pickering to allow for track work. The change affects trips departing after midnight tonight and then through all of Saturday and Sunday. Shuttle buses will run instead and regular service will resume in time for Monday's commute. And here in the city, TTC riders will have to navigate a major subway closure in the West End. There won't be any service on Line 2 tomorrow between Kipling and Keele stations. It's so that signal work can get done, but shuttle buses will be operating. Runnymede and High Park stations will also be closed all weekend.
Still to come tonight, serving up stars to the finest of the food scene. We'll reveal which local hotspot are now considered among the best in the world. It was a big night for foodies in the GTA as some of the top restaurants were honored internationally.
The Michelin Guide announced its 2025 selections, recognizing the best places to dine in Toronto and the surrounding area. Restaurant Pearl Morissette, which is located in the Niagara region, has been promoted to 2 stars, while Akin received its first Michelin star. Akin offers a 10-course modern Asian tasting menu, and its chef is MasterChef Canada winner Eric Chong.
Honestly, this is like, it's surreal because for the longest time since I became a professional chef, I told my wife on our first date, I want to become a Michelin-starred chef. And today is finally the day where I can prove her that I'm worthy of her.
Overall, the updated guide features 106 restaurants and 31 cuisine types. Sunday's restaurant in Uxbridge joins the Michelin ranks with a green star for their efforts in what they call sustainable gastronomy.
Finally tonight, they say people often look like their pets, but a Durham man and his dog are taking that to the next level.
The pair are turning heads on their daily walks thanks to a rather unique outfit worn not by the dog, but by its owner. CTV's John Vinavali Rao reports.
Do you want to go for a walk?
That's the question Rich Lutchford loves to ask his best friend Maya, a tiny dachshund whose daily walks involve more than the usual gear.
Go on then, let's go.
Because Lutchford, hoping to fetch some smiles, aiming to turn heads with an inflatable suit that has nothing to do with Halloween.
Just thought it would be funny.
Lutchford, who works as a roofer, simply started regularly walking Maya in public dressed like this. A wiener dog walking a wiener dog.
People kind of look at me like, what is this? Other people are smiling, and I point at them and say, that's what it's all about. That smile. Have a great day. Yes! Have a great day!
Lutchford hoping to add some levity to a world that could use it right now.
Yeah!
And this, the kind of response he gets everywhere he goes.
I've had literally people scream, stop, say, oh my gosh, and then drive off.
And of course, everyone wants a picture.
What do you love about it?
Everything. That he's walking in public like that. I love it.
I think it's great.
Lutchford also posting videos of himself doing things like going to the dog park and wandering through a grocery store. All sorts of local groups are now asking him to make appearances. The mayor of neighboring Whitby noticed and awarded him a certificate, acknowledging the joy he was bringing to others.
I thought it was pretty cool.
So what does Maya think of it all? Lutchford says she gets excited when he puts on the suit.
I think she likes me more as a dog than as a human.
And Lutchford, he plans to keep on warming as many hearts as he can, leaving his mark one smile at a time. John Benavelli-Rouse, CTV News, Oshawa, Ontario.
All right, it's like who's walking who?
Yes.
I can't believe what I'm seeing here.
We've talked about the dog days of summer. We've talked about the fetching weather, unleashing the sunshine.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, take it away, Natalie. No, I'm just kidding. That was a fun way to finish off a Friday newscast. And let's finish off our weather forecast by talking about the possibility of frost, not here in the GTA, but outside of here. Yeah, if you're taking the dog for a walk very early tomorrow morning, you might need a coat, depending on the size of the dog. It's looking like a lovely weekend overall, though. 19 degrees tomorrow, a breezy easterly wind, so that will make it feel cool, but lots of sunshine. Get outside and enjoy. A little more hot, a little more humid into Sunday and Monday. Next week is looking pretty nice weather-wise, too. Natalie and Nathan.
Sounds good to me. Thank you, Lindsay. Be sure to join Omar Sachedina tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Allman with our next local newscast at 11:30.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News, thank you for watching. Have a good night.